The canvas knife sliced through the air like a confession I never meant to make, embedding itself in the wall inches from Levi's head. He didn't flinch, just stared at me with those storm-gray eyes, the kind that could unravel a man faster than any storm in the Midwest. "Nathan," he whispered, his voice cracking like the thunder rolling over the Ohio River. "If you throw that again, you'll have to paint over the hole yourself." I dropped the knife, my hands shaking not from rage but from the ache of seeing him here, in the dim glow of our club's forgotten storage room, holding the one secret I'd buried deeper than my own coming-out story. The air smelled of turpentine and regret, thick enough to choke on. How had we gotten here, me, the unflappable president of Riverton College's Pride Alliance, reduced to wielding art supplies as weapons against the guy who'd painted more than walls into my life? It started 3 months ago, in the sticky heat of late August, when the campus still hummed with the promise of fall leaves and fresh starts. Riverton was one of those quintessential American college towns, nestled in southern Ohio, where cornfields kissed the edges of ivy-covered quads, and the football stadium's cheers drowned out the whispers of small-town scandals. I'd been running the Pride Alliance for 2 years, turning our cramped club room in the student union basement into a sanctuary. Rainbow flags draped like battle banners, walls scrawled with affirmations in Sharpie, a mismatched couch that had seen more heartfelt confessions than a therapist's office. But the room was a mess. Peeling paint from the 90s, water stains like ghosts of past floods. Budget was tight. The college administration doled out funds like they were rationing moonshine during Prohibition. So I posted a flyer on the Arts Building bulletin board. Student painter needed for LGBTQ plus clubroom. Flexible hours, decent pay. No homophobes need apply. It was half joke, half shield. I'd been burned before, freshman year, by a hookup who ghosted me after his frat buddies called him confused. Trust was a luxury I couldn't afford. Levi showed up the next afternoon, backpack slung over one shoulder, sketchpad under his arm, looking every bit the brooding art major straight out of a John Green novel. He was 22, a transfer from some nowhere town in Pennsylvania, with ink-stained fingers and a jawline that could cut glass. His hair was that effortless messy dark that girls and guys tripped over at parties. "Saw your flyer," he said, voice low and steady, like he was narrating a documentary on PBS. "I paint. Murals, portraits, whatever. But I got rules." "Rules?" I raised an eyebrow, leaning against the doorframe, arms crossed over my faded arcade fire tee. "Rules for painting a room? This isn't a tattoo parlor, man." He didn't smile, just pulled a crumpled sheet from his backpack and smoothed it on the rickety table. It was typed, single-spaced, titled, "Levi's Guidelines for Collaborative Spaces." I scanned it, half expecting some hipster manifesto about fair trade brushes. Instead, 1. No judgments on process, art's messy, like life. 2. Boundaries respected. Ask before you cross lines. 3. Stories shared only if they heal, not harm. 4. End each session with one truth, no lies, no omissions. I laughed, a sharp bark that echoed off the concrete walls. "What is this, a contract for the soul?" "Look, dude, it's a 12 by 15 room. Primer, 2 coats of eggshell white, maybe some accent colors if you're feeling wild. You get $50 a day cash. Take it or leave it." He held my gaze, unblinking. "I take it, but the rules stand. They keep things honest." Honest. The word hung there, mocking me. I'd built my life around half-truths, smiling through family dinners where my dad pretended my phase would pass, dodging hookups that felt more like escapes than connections. Levi's rules felt like a dare, a mirror I wasn't ready to face. But we needed the work done before homecoming, when the club hosted our annual out-of-the-closet open mic. So I shrugged. "Fine. Your funeral." That first day, he showed up at 9 a.m. sharp, tarps unfurled like surrender flags, rollers dripping with primer. I lingered, pretending to sort flyers, but really watching him. The way his shoulders flexed under a worn flannel, the precise strokes that turned chaos into something clean. He worked in silence at first, radio tuned to NPR, stories of civil rights marches and queer icons like Harvey Milk. "Background noise," he muttered when I commented. "Keeps the ghosts quiet." Ghosts? I didn't press. Instead, I dragged in a stool, cracked open a lukewarm Mountain Dew, and tested the waters. "So Levi artsy type, huh?" What's your deal? Girlfriend back in PA? Or are you one of those tortured souls pining for Paris? He paused mid-stroke, paint flecking his forearm like freckles. No girlfriend, no Paris, just rules. He nodded at the paper taped to the wall now, like a quirky roommate agreement. Keeps me grounded. By noon, the room smelled less like mildew and more like possibility. We broke for sandwiches, turkey clubs from the Union Deli, extra mustard on mine. Sitting cross-legged on the drop cloth, knees almost brushing, he asked his first question. Why this club? Not the debate team or, I don't know, chess. I chewed slower, the bread sticking in my throat. Honesty, right? Because hiding sucks. Came out at 16, right after my best friend bailed when his dad found my texts. Figured if I could make one space where kids don't have to fake it. I trailed off, shrugging like it was no big deal. But it was, every fiber of me hummed with the weight of it. The nights I'd lain awake wondering if love was just a myth for guys like me. Levi nodded, slow, like he was filing it away. Rule 3. Stories that heal. That's yours, then. Over the next week, the rules wove into our rhythm. Mornings, he'd arrive with coffee. Black for him, vanilla latte for me, no questions asked. We'd paint side by side, me taping edges with the precision of someone who'd once dreamed of architecture before switching to poli-sci. Afternoons blurred into easy talk. His love for Rothko's color fields, my obsession with Lin-Manuel Miranda's Hamilton. Evenings, as the sun dipped behind the Ohio hills, he'd invoke the rules like gentle reminders. Truth time, he'd say, wiping sweat from his brow, voice soft against the hum of the AC unit. I'd share fragments, how my mom sent care packages with rainbow socks hidden in the socks, or the time a professor outed me in class for discussion. He'd listen, then offer his own sliver. Growing up in a steel town where men didn't cry, where his dad's mill accident left him with a limp and a liquor habit. Boundaries, he'd say when things got too raw, a hand up like a stop sign, but his eyes said keep going. I didn't see it coming, the shift. It was subtle, like the way the walls went from dingy beige to crisp white, revealing murals we'd sketched together. Intertwined vines in pride colors, symbolizing roots that couldn't be uprooted. Levi's touch was everywhere. Delicate shading on the leaves, hidden quotes in the bark. Love is the bridge, from MLK. One night, after a brutal club meeting where a freshman broke down over family rejection, Levi stayed late. We sat on the couch, his arms slung casual over the backrest, close enough I could smell his soap. Irish Spring, clean and unpretentious. Truth, he murmured, voice husky from disuse. I transferred here because home felt like a cage. Dad wanted me in the mill, Mom in church. But art doesn't judge. I turned, our faces inches apart. The room lit only by a desk lamp casting long shadows. And the rules? They judge enough for you? His laugh was low, almost a sigh. They protect. From getting hurt. From hurting back. In that moment, something cracked. Maybe the wall we just patched. Maybe the armor I'd worn since sophomore year. I leaned in, testing, my hand brushing his knee. He didn't pull away. Instead, his fingers found mine, tentative like tracing a new sketch. The kiss was slow, exploratory. Salt and coffee, hesitation melting into hunger. It wasn't fireworks. It was a quiet storm. The kind that reshapes the landscape without you noticing until the power's out. We pulled back, breathless, his rules echoing unspoken between us. No judgments. Boundaries. Truths that heal. But as he gathered his things, jacket zipped against the chill, I wondered if his rules could hold back the flood. The next day he didn't show. Text went unread. Walls look empty without you. By evening, panic gnawed. Had I crossed a line? Pushed too far? I drove to his off-campus apartment. A sagging Victorian on Elm Street, porch light flickering like a bad omen. He answered in sweats, eyes red-rimmed. The rules paper crumpled in the trash by the door. Nathan, he started. But I cut him off, heart hammering. What the hell? One kiss and you're ghosting? If your rules mean. It's not that. He stepped aside, letting me in. The place was an artist's fever dream. Canvases leaning like dominoes, palettes crusted with color. He sank onto the bed, head in hands. My ex, he found out. About us. or whatever this is. X? The word landed like a gut punch. Who? What X? From PA. Straight as an arrow, or so he thought. We were roommates freshman year. It was experimental. He freaked, told everyone I was the queer one. Ruined my rep, my scholarships. That's why the rules, to keep control. To not let it happen again. Betrayals echo, sharp and familiar. But this was Levi, my Levi? Carrying scars I hadn't seen. I sat beside him, close but not touching. I'm not him, and you're not defined by some asshole's panic. He looked up, eyes searching mine. What if I am? What if this us is just another mistake? The question hung heavy as the humid air. I wanted to rage, to shake him until the truth spilled out. Instead, I invoked his own code. Truth time, Levi. I see you. Not the rules, not the past. You. He leaned into me then, forehead to shoulder, and for the first time the silence felt like home. But outside, thunder rumbled. A warning of storms yet to break. Fall deepened on campus like a plot twist you didn't see coming. Leaves turning crimson underfoot. Air crisp with the scent of bonfires and impending midterms. The club room gleamed now, our masterpiece. Walls alive with murals that told stories of resilience, from Stonewall to the quiet victories in Ohio's backroads. Levi and I fell into a rhythm that felt dangerously like a relationship, though we never named it. Mornings in the Union coffee shop, sketching ideas over scones. Afternoons painting over each other's mistakes, laughing when a vine bled into a quote. Evenings, well, those blurred into stolen moments. Hands laced under tables at dive bars, knees brushing in the back row of indie films at the old Orpheum Theater. His rules evolved with us, or maybe bent. No labels yet, he'd say, tracing my palm with his thumb during late-night drives along the river. Windows down, Bruce Springsteen crooning about Born to Run Hearts. Labels lock you in. Let's just be. I agreed because pushing felt like tempting fate, and I'd learned the hard way that love in Riverton was as fragile as the town's rusted bridges. The club noticed, of course. My vice president, Mia, a fierce non-binary junior with a buzz cut and a tattoo of Audre Lorde's face, cornered me after a meeting. Spill, Nate. That painter boy's got you smiling like you won the lottery. Is he? Ally? I lied. Folding chairs with more force than needed. Super ally. Rules and everything. She snorted, stacking posters. Rules? Honey, if he's got you this lit up, those are just foreplay. I brushed it off, but her words stuck like burrs. Was it foreplay? Or preparation for the fall? Levi opened up in fragments, truths doled out like rations. His ex, call him Jake, wasn't just a roommate. He'd been the golden boy, quarterback dreams and all, until one drunken night shattered the facade. He blamed me, Levi confessed one crisp October evening. As we hiked the trails behind campus, leaves crunching under hiking boots, said I seduced him, cost me friends, family dinners. So the rules, they're my armor. I stopped, turning him to face me, the setting sun gilding his features. Armor gets heavy. You don't have to carry it alone. His kiss then was fierce, all teeth and urgency, against an oak tree that had probably witnessed a century of secrets. With you, he murmured. It feels lighter. We built something real in those weeks. Human, flawed, achingly tender. He came to a club potluck, awkward in khakis, charming Mia with stories of his abstract phase inspired by Basquiat. I introduced him as Levi, the guy who saved our walls, and watched his cheeks flush, a rare vulnerability. Nights, he'd crash at my off-campus duplex, a cozy shotgun house on Maple with creaky floors and a porch swing. We'd cook, burnt quesadillas and boxed mac, laughing over episodes of The Office. His head on my shoulder, rules forgotten in the glow of string lights. But shadows lurked. Jake started texting, sporadic at first, then insistent. Heard you're playing house with some fag. One read screenshot to me in a moment of Levi's rare openness. I wanted to storm Pennsylvania, but Levi waved it off. Ignore. He's noise. Noise has a way of building to a roar. Midterms hit like a freight train, club events piling on, a voter registration drive for marriage equality amendments, a panel on trans rights with alumni speakers. Levi dove in, designing flyers with his signature flair. Bold colors, hidden messages of hope. "This is why I stayed," he told me after, arms wrapped around my waist in the empty room. This fight. I believed him. God, I did. Until the betrayal cracked us open like an eggshell underfoot. It came on a Friday, the kind of gray November day where the sky presses down like judgment. I'd wrapped a shift at the campus library, shelving books on queer theory, mind wandering to Levi's latest sketch, a portrait of us as intertwined silhouettes. My phone buzzed. Mia. Emergency meeting. Club room. Now. I bolted across the quad, wind whipping my scarf, heart pounding with worst-case scenarios. Funding cut? Protest gone wrong? The door was ajar, voices spilling out like smoke. Inside, the room felt violated. Our mural defaced, vines slashed with black spray paint, quotes smeared into illegible smears. "Fags out" scrawled across the door in dripping letters. Mia paced, fists clenched. Our treasurer, Jamal, snapped photos for the dean. And Levi stood in the corner, face ashen, holding a can of black paint, half hidden behind his back. "What the fuck?" The words tore from me, raw as the wounds on the wall. He stepped forward, clattering to the floor, spilling like ink from a broken pen. "Nathan, it's not. Save it." Mia whirled, eyes blazing. "We saw the footage. Security cam caught you last night, 2 a.m. alone." The world tilted. Footage? Alone? Levi's rules flashed, boundaries, truths, no harm. But this was destruction. "Why?" I choked, stepping over the mess, close enough to see the guilt etching lines around his eyes. "We built this. Together. It's Jake," he whispered, voice breaking. "He drove down, threatened to out me to my family, to the whole town, unless I proved I wasn't." His hands trembled, reaching for me, but I recoiled. I had to make it look like hate from outside. "Protect us. The club." "You. Protect." Laughter bubbled up, bitter as bile. "By slashing our heart? That's not protection, Levi. That's cowardice. Your rules. Lies, all of it." Jamal cleared his throat. Awkward. "We called campus police. Dean's on it. But Nate, he has to go." "Go." The word echoed, final as a gavel. Levi's face crumpled, the artist in him painting devastation across his features. "Please. Truth time. I love." "Don't." I turned away, chest caving. "Your truths cut deeper than any knife." He left in a blur. Backpack grabbed, door slamming like a full stop. Mia hugged me, murmuring about resilience, but I barely heard. The room, our sanctuary, reeked of betrayal, the black paint seeping into cracks we'd sealed with hope. That night, I drove the river road, radio off, tears blurring taillights. Springsteen's Ghost Road shotgun. Is a dream a lie if it don't come true, or is it something worse? Levi's rules mocked from memory, no judgments, but I judged. Boundaries crossed irreparably, and the deepest cut. I'd let him in, rules and all, only to watch him torch it all. Saturday dawned brutal. Headlines in the campus paper. Hate crime hits Pride Center. Protests brewed. Students linking arms outside the union, chanting for justice. I rallied, voice steady on the megaphone, but inside, I was hollow. Texts from Levi piled up, unread. "Let me explain. It's not what you think. I can't lose you." By Sunday, the dean suspended him pending investigation. Art scholarship in jeopardy. Whispers spread. Levi the vandal, the infiltrator. I avoided the arts building, but fate's a cruel curator. There he was, in the sculpture garden, chisel forgotten on a bench, carving nothing but air. "Nathan." He rose, desperate. "Jake's gone." I told him off. "The police know it was coerced. But I should have told you first. Rule broken. I hid to protect." "Protect yourself." I spat, wind tearing at my coat. "You think this is new? The straight guy who dips a toe, then drowns the pool." His flinch was visceral. "I'm not straight. Not anymore. Not since you." He stepped closer, rain starting to spit from iron clouds. "The rules were for me, yeah, but you changed them. You changed me." Thunder cracked, first fat drops hitting the gravel. I wanted to believe God, the romance of it, two broken boys forging something unbreakable under American skies. But trust, once shattered, leaves shards. Too late, I said, voice lost in the downpour. Paint over it, Levi. Start fresh. I walked away, back to the club, to the walls we'd repaint without him. But his silhouette lingered, rain-soaked and resolute, a mural unfinished. Winter clamped down on Riverton like a vice, snow blanketing the quad in deceptive purity, holidays looming with their forced cheer. The clubroom got a hasty fix. Community volunteers slapping on fresh paint, but the murals stayed scarred, deliberate reminders of resilience. Wounds heal stronger, Mia said, wielding a roller like a sword. I nodded, but strength felt theoretical. My days a grind of classes and counseling sessions, nights replaying Levi's confession in the rain. You changed me. He vanished from campus after suspension. Rumors swirled. Back to PA, or holed up in some off-grid cabin sketching his regrets. The police cleared him officially. Jake's coercion documented. A restraining order slapped on like a band-aid. But clearance doesn't mend hearts. I threw myself into the club, a holiday fundraiser for local shelters, baking cookies with Jamal while dodging questions about that painter drama. Human first, I'd say, echoing Levi's rules, but it rang hollow. Christmas break hit, and I fled to my folks in Cleveland, suburban split level, tree twinkling with ornaments from my artistic phase. Mom, ever the quiet ally, slipped me a mug of spiked cider on the porch swing. Hearts mend, Nate, like bridges after floods. Dad grunted from the recliner, flipping channels to Steelers reruns, but his pat on my shoulder later said enough. American stoicism, laced with love. Back on campus in January, the air buzzed with thaw. Icicles dripping, students shedding coats like old skins. The club planned our biggest event yet, Bridges Not Walls, a gala fundraiser with queer poets, drag performances, and Levi's untouched mural as backdrop. I'd curated it in defiance, inviting him via email. If you want redemption, bring your brush. No rules. He came, unannounced, 2 nights before. I found him in the room at dusk, tarps down, carefully restoring the vines. Delicate strokes mending what he'd slashed. He looked gaunt, shadows under his eyes like brushwork, flannel hanging loose on his frame. Go away, I said, but my voice lacked conviction. Arms crossing more for warmth than barrier. He set the brush down, turning slow. Can't. Too many truths left unsaid. Rain pattered the window. Another storm, Ohio's endless drama. Jake's out of my life. Told my parents everything over break. They didn't take it well. Dad hung up, Mom cried. But I said it. For me. For us. The word tugged. Treacherous. I sank onto the couch, the one that had cradled our first tentative touches. And? What now? You slash? You fix? And I just forget. No. He knelt, eye level, hands open on his knees. No reaching, respecting the boundary. I broke my own rules. Hid the storm instead of sharing it. But you taught me, love isn't control. It's chaos, messy as paint. And I love you, Nathan. Not as an experiment. As truth. Tears pricked, hot and unwelcome. You wrecked us. How do I trust? You don't. Not yet. His voice cracked, raw. But let me earn it. One stroke at a time. The gala night arrived in a whirlwind. String lights twinkling. Folding tables laden with sliders and punch spiked with hope. The room pulsed. Poets reciting Auden under the restored mural. A queen lip-syncing to Chapel Roan. Laughter cutting through the chill. I emceed, jokes landing easy. But my eyes scanned for him. He was there, in the shadows, brush in hand, adding final flourishes. A bridge arching over the vines, etched with no judgments. After, as the crowd thinned, he approached, cleaner now in a button-down, hair tamed. Dance? He nodded at the empty floor, a Bluetooth speaker crooning Norah Jones.
He hesitated, Arta dram solo.
Then yes. Slipping into his arms, sway slow under the lights. No grand gestures, just bodies remembering. New rule, I murmured into his collar. Truths every day. No hiding storms. Deal. His breath warmed my temple, hands steady on my back. But climax waits for no romance. As we pulled apart, the door banged open. Jake, wild-eyed, reeking of bourbon, campus security nowhere in sight. "You think you can just?" He lunged, bottle raised. A shattered echo of coercion turned violent. Levi moved first, shoving me behind, taking the swing meant for me. Glass shattered on his shoulder, blood blooming dark on flannel. Chaos erupted, Mia screaming, Jamal dialing 911. Me frozen as Levi grappled him down, not with fists but holds, whispering, "It's over, man. Let go." Police swarmed minutes later, Jake cuffed and ranting. Levi's wound shallow but the scar eternal. In the ER sterile white beeping monitors, he gripped my hand. "Rules be damned." "Worth it," he rasped, morphine slurring edges. "For you." I stayed till dawn, watching him sleep, the weight lifting like fog over the river. Betrayal's sting faded, not gone but transmuted, into something fiercer, more alive. Spring unfurled gentle. Cherry blossoms dusting the quad, club membership doubling post-gala. Levi's suspension lifted. He graduated with a portfolio bursting. Murals commissioned for the student center. His story anonymized in the campus mag as ally turned advocate. We took it slow. Dates at the drive-in, road trips to Coney Island, truths traded like baseball cards. Not perfect, arguments flared, old ghosts whispering doubts. But in the quiet, like painting at midnight, we built. Human, flawed, unbreakable. One July evening, 4th of America fireworks exploding over the Ohio, we sat on my porch swing, his head on my shoulder. "Think we'll make it?" he asked, voice soft against the booms. I kissed his temple, rules etched in our bones. We already have, one truth at a time. And in that humanistic grace, the messy, redemptive heart of it, we did.